My biggest fear is a semi-final. Ah, bunch of assholes.
My biggest fear is werewolves. And frisbees, actually.
Oh, my biggest fear is Brexit. But you don't live in Britain. I know, I just don't like the anti-internationalist sentiment of it, you know?
References to 1980s films.
My biggest fear is, Yakey the Yake. My biggest fear is that I never get forgiven by that Canadian guy. I'm joking, of course. It's bears. Terrified of bears.
Werewolves. What he said that. London. Werewolves in London.
My biggest fear is that I will never understand the relationship between mediocrity and success, and also that drop goals will have their value reduced to 2 points.
Americans. American werewolves. Americans in London.
I'd say my biggest fear is hosting alone, so it's been a pretty tough month. But no, I didn't always used to host alone. I used to host with this guy. Yeah, but I guess some people just don't like responding to Facebook messages. Yeah, so either that or anyone finding out about my multiple personality disorder. It's a... What? Nothing all. Your secret's safe with me. Yes, absolutely all. I can't agree more, all. Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. Hey, all of you, shut up! Hello and welcome back to Rugby This Evening. It is Halloween and this desk's biggest fear is that I will burn it after this weekend for becoming, if possible, even more wobbly. Truth be told, I will. Now then, there's only really time today to look forward to the 2 final games of the tournament coming up over the next couple of days. But first, let's not do that and let's check in with Bear Grylls. Bear, of course, suffered that huge loss in court last weekend. Ed Helms walked away scot-free after Bear exposed his appalling crimes, including being a Nazi, being Darth Vader, stealing bread. So Bear, as a result, has lost faith in the legal system and is now a dangerous vigilante. Let's see what he's done over the last few days then. Bear, how's the hunt for Ed Helms coming on?
Today, we found Ed Helms.
Start playing the sport Frisbington.
Frisbington will take over!
You better not lose to Bear Grylls,
Or else I'll kill you.
Ed Helms.
Finally, I have you now. I want you to know.
We have you surrounded, Ed Helms.
Shit, you do.
So what's your plan?
I'll never tell you.
Ah!
Okay, fine. For Frisbington to flourish, another sport must die. My work here is done.
Oh, what's in the box?
It's empty.
Is it?
No, I lied. Ah!
Ow! Stop! Stop! This is assault!
Where you're going, you're gonna wish I could assault you.
Why?
Shut up! Come on, Gilbert.
I can't walk.
Yeah.
I'm a police officer. Billy? Later. What are you doing?
Justice will be bad.
Done incredible work, and we can all rest easy now. And by rest, I mean look forward to the last two matches of the tournament. First up is the third place playoff tomorrow at 9 AM British time, 9 PM New Zealand time, between New Zealand and Wales. New Zealand, of course, beaten by England in the semi-final last week, and Wales by South Africa. They will duel for the bronze medal. So let's see the record of those two teams in third place playoffs. New Zealand have featured in 3, losing 1, winning 2. Wales have played in 2, won 1, lost 1. Third place playoffs can be a bit of a lottery, but there is a slight predictability about them. If we look at the win percentage for the two teams over the last 4 years, that normally gives us a good idea of who's going to win. If we get the scatter graph up, there is a line of sorts there, which suggests that New Zealand will be victorious tomorrow. But in fairness, not many people are too interested in the third place playoff. There may be second string players out, it might not be too interesting, blah, blah, blah. However, one slightly more important match is happening on Saturday, same time, 9 o'clock, between England and South Africa. That is the World Cup final. So, what is predictable about the World Cup final? Well, let's have a look at the win percentage over the last 4 years then. Let's have a look at that scatter graph. No real trend there. So if we look at the past finals and look at the previous games between the two sides in the final, only one side ever has won a final having lost the previous game to their opposition in the final. And that was the first ever Rugby World Cup final in 1987. That is New Zealand, where previously, a year before, they had lost to France. They won that final quite comfortably at home in Auckland. However, that hasn't happened since, and genuinely, it's quite easy to see a trend. Only once has there not been an exact copy of the result. When England beat Australia, it was drawn at full time. England, of course, beat Australia in their previous match. Even the draw between New Zealand and South Africa in 1995 echoed the previous match between the two sides, which was a draw as well. So that's pretty cool. And the previous match between England and South Africa did go to England, but it was very close last November at Twickenham, and there was an Owen Farrell shoulder charge, which everyone got very excited about. But England, it goes their way in that statistic. However, in 2018, England went on tour to South Africa, and South Africa won that series. So, again, a slight edge to England because it was the last game, but South Africa by no means out of it. Now then, the other statistic is to do with the win percentage. So again, England do have the superior win percentage. So both of these stats do go the way of the English. But are there a couple of patterns that can negate this? In South Africa's corner, there is a 12-year rule. South Africa won their first ever World Cup that they competed in 1995, again in 2007, and now we're here in 2019. If they win again, it would have been 12-year wait, and that is something. But however, there's another one for England. When England lost to Australia in 1991 in the final, 12 years later they beat Australia in the final 2003. They then again lost to South Africa in the 2007 final and now have an opportunity to beat South Africa 12 years later again in another final. So that's another pretty cool pattern. Also, no team has ever won the Tri-Nations or Rugby Championship and won the Rugby World Cup. South Africa this year won the Rugby Championship. Also, no team has ever won a World Cup having lost a game in the tournament. South Africa lost their first game in the tournament against New Zealand. But every time South Africa have reached a semi-final, they've won their final game. So that was the finals in 95 and 07, and the third place playoffs in 99 and last time in 2015. So they have a 100% record in these final games. What can we draw from these stats? Basically, nothing. South Africa might win, England might win. It's not to do with history, but all of these things would be pretty cool if they continued. However, for either side to win, there's going to be some breaking of a pattern. There's going to be some breaking of rules somewhere. So we will see. That is on Saturday. And I suppose we should make some predictions. I'm going to predict both games now, and I invite you to as well. I'm allowed to do this poll here. There we go. So that's going to be towards Wales or New Zealand. And we're going to say head for New Zealand, heart for Wales. You go too. Wales or New Zealand? Let's wait a moment for you to do that. Ooh, good choice. Now then, the final on Saturday, the Rugby World Cup final prediction. England or South Africa? Head and heart with England. You go too. And we'll see where that ends up then. Good. Make sure you invite all your friends to watch this, share it with everyone, like it as much as you can to see the culmination of everything Bear Grylls and Ed Helms, everything Hilary King, the culmination of Garce, Yakey de Yake, and also probably some rugby as well, I suppose. So we will see you tomorrow evening for the penultimate episode of Rugby This Evening. But for now, it is bye. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you watch all the others to get up to speed. Watch the last one there and tell people about this, because they all deserve to see what will happen over the next couple of days.